Well, hi, how are you, friends? It's good to see you. It's a beautiful day here at SM Heartland today. Temperature, I think, is somewhere in the low 70s or approaching that. Humidity level is right on the border of where I like it, but I can't complain. I'm going to get some work done today. I had to take advantage of this weather because it's not often, especially out here at SM Heartland, where it's comfortable enough just to work and not get all uncomfortable with perspiration and stuff like that. So for me, that's an issue. But the other problem I have is that there's really no place out here for me to do any of this work. So I've got a table set up behind me here that I've been using as a kind of a maintenance bench. Earlier, I replaced the carburetor on my Echo PAS-266 weed trimmer. The original carburetor had just seen its days. It gave up the ghost and she's gone. But that's running good now, and that's Susie's weapon of choice, and she loves it. So it's back in service. I have behind me my Echo CS-2511T, my top handle saw that I use in the canopy of the trees. I've got to do some work on it. It's been a little temperamental. It's getting hard to start. And some of you two-cycle experts out there might be able to give you some tips, but I'm going to try to just do the basic things here and do a little tuning, and we'll see if that works. At the same time, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing cleaned up a little bit. You know, the reason for that is that saw is, I mean, it is for me, it's very tactical in the trees. I have to have it perform now. For every ounce of energy that I use trying to start that saw, that's an ounce I lose trying to maneuver myself within the canopy to remain safe and to get into a good work position for cutting branches out of that canopy. So that saw's got to respond. It's got to respond properly. So that's it's important. I also have over here my CS-400. That is my old faithful companion from years ago. That's the one with the 18-inch bar right now. It's just it's a great ground saw. My wife loves to use it on the ground. It's reliable. It's dependent. It's always there for us. So I'm going to get it cleaned up and do a little bit of tuning on it as well. I've got some news for you folks. I'll share that with you as we go. So right now, why don't you just follow along with me, okay? All right, folks, over. All right, and so the first thing I did is I took the bar off and blew the debris out of the kerf, got it to where the nose of the bar spins freely up here and all the oil ports are clean. So this thing's ready to go. So what I have here is the clutch cover. This clutch cover is pretty fouled up. This cover has the chain brake mechanism in it, as well as the chain tensioner here. And I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up. It's pretty clogged up. I have a video where I show the disassembly of this whole clutch cover assembly here and how to reassemble it and what happens if you lose a few parts on the inside there. So let me get this blown out. It looks much better. It looks like I got a little bit of dirt on the lens. I'll get that cleaned up, folks. All right, and so the next thing I need to do is take the power head itself and just go ahead and blow everything out of here. So I'm not going to drag you through all this. I'm just going to go ahead and get her done, and I'll join you back here on the flip side. All right, so there we have it, folks. You can see that it's quite a bit cleaner. The clutch is nice and clean. Everything's nice and visible here. So we're going to go ahead and put this part back together. Actually, what I'll probably do first is go ahead and change some components like the fuel filter, air filter, and probably the spark plug. All right, so To access the spark plug and the air filter on this, there's a cap right here on the end of this. I'm going to go ahead and take my lanyard off of here just to make it a little easier to get to everything. All right, and there's a latch right here. We just pull this down. I found it to be a little easier to use something like that. And then this cover just comes off. And here is the air filter. Actually, this filter does not look bad. I think I'll probably just give it a cleaning here. We've got some debris around the throat of the carburetor here. I'm going to go ahead and get that cleaned off carefully so nothing gets down inside. So it actually looks like this filter is pretty new. I'll blow it off right now. All right, that looks better, doesn't it? Pretty good. And for this carburetor, and by the way, this air cleaner is for my CS-400, as well as these components. I'm going to get them out of the way. I'm just being careful not to blow anything inside the throat of the carburetor here. All right, so that's that. I'm going to go ahead and put the air filter back on. It twists and locks into place. And we're ready now to go on to the spark plug. The spark plug sits underneath here. All right, and so on this particular plug, it's a 5/8, and you can use your scrunch to loosen this, or just a regular socket. Let's take a look. Actually, it does not look bad. This plug does not look bad at all. I'm going to go ahead and replace it anyway, just because I have a new one. We'll check the gap on that. I believe it's 25 thousandths. And we are right there, 25 thousandths. Make sure that the spark plug flange here is clean before you put this in. Now's a good time to clean it. By the way, the plug I just removed is the original plug, so it's been in there for a couple of years now, and it's about time I just go ahead and change it out. I had an issue with our Jeep. Our Jeep runs these, I forget what they're called. I want to say they're 3G. Now, you don't want to over torque these, by the way. There's a compression ring on those. You want to make sure that ring is good and compressed to create a seal, but otherwise don't flatten it. Otherwise you'll get a leak in your compression. So anyway, our Jeep uses these 3G plugs or something like that. I forget exactly what they are, but they're kind of cool plugs. They're expensive. They're about $6 to $7 per plug. And it's an '09 Wrangler, and we were getting these engine codes saying that it was misfiring on cylinder 2 and 3. So I thought, well, you know what? Least expensive thing to replace is the plugs and wires. Well, so I pulled that thing apart, and sure enough, the plugs actually, the electrode, you could see that it had just disintegrated down to just a nub. I mean, it was crazy how that. I've never noticed that before in a spark plug. Maybe it's just that particular design of a plug. But, and then as I was removing wires, some of the wires just disintegrated in my hands. So I was able to get all that replaced, and it's running fine now. So Susie's happy, I'm happy. Okay, that's in place. Make sure that snaps. You should hear a good positive click. All right, that's good. Next thing is going to be the fuel filter. All right, so for this, I'm going to go ahead and open the fuel port. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but on these Echo CS-2511s, the way that these covers are made, they're made so that if it's too tight for you to remove, you can actually use the T handle here on your pull cord, just like that, to remove these. Kind of a neat little feature that they put in on this. I don't tighten my caps that tight, so I never really have to use it. I put them on just snug enough that it doesn't leak, so that I can easily get them off when I need to refuel. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull this fuel cap retainer out, and I happen to have just kind of a huge piece of electrical wire, but it works. I'm gonna go in there and just hook that fuel line. Just like that. And there's a little retaining spring on there. You want to make sure you loosen that up. And by the way, the filter on this CS-2511T is the same filter that the CS-400 uses. And just to double check that, I have a brand new CS-400 fuel filter in here. That's the CS-400. Here's the 2511T. All right, so this is what was in it. I guess this must be an older design. It actually doesn't look bad. Again, I'm just replacing it for good measure. So slip the end of that tubing over there, then make sure you get the retaining spring or clamp back in place. All right, so that's there. Drop it back in. Replace the fuel cap retainer. We're ready to start this thing up and see what happens. Should we try it? Let's try it. All right, so there is a purge bulb here, or a primer bulb. I'm going to go ahead and get some gas going from the fuel tank to the carburetor. Power switch on, choke on. Let's see what happens. That's a good sign. And you can see my oil pump is working as well. I think I may throttle back that oil pump a little bit just to slow that down a trickle. Maybe not, we'll see. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together, get the bar and the chain on. All right, so the bar, and I'm putting it on upside down, folks, from what it was originally. When I took it off, it was right side up, it's upside down. And it's important to do that to maintain equal wear, even wear on both sides, the top and the bottom of the bar. So that's what I'm doing there. Okay, in this chain, the cutters are pointed this direction on the top of the bar, and are pointed this direction on the bottom of the bar. So you want to make sure you get that right. Just like that. Take the clutch cover. Now, what I find is helpful, and I don't have my knife here right now, or my screwdriver, maybe I can use my knife, is to take the chain tension off a little bit. That makes it a little bit easier to line the chain tensioner up with this hole in the guide bar. Okay, there it is. It snapped into place there. It should go on just as easy as that did right there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this finger tight. And normally I'd use my scratch for this, but I've got a wrench available, so I'm going to do that. Now, I'm not going to go tight with this right now because I need to adjust the chain tension, as you can see. I need to get a flathead screwdriver. All right, so with my flathead screwdriver, I'm going to go ahead and tighten the bar until that chain comes up and makes contact. Do I have that in place? I think I do. Be careful as you're tightening this. If it doesn't go into place, you might have a problem with the way that the chain is engaged with the sprocket back here. So double check that before you start tightening things. Or, you know, and I found as a general rule, do not ever just bear down on something. If something isn't going together easily, you might want to check to make sure that everything's together properly. All right, so that's kind of what I'm doing here right now. And I'm going to give it a little bit of stretch as I go. Some people say that you should put the tip of the bar down on something solid as you're adjusting this because it kind of pre-tensions the chain. I don't believe in doing that. I mean, it's just my preference. I found that I can control my chain tension real easily, so I don't jump through those hoops. Alrighty, let's see what we get now. So folks, I can tell right now there's a big difference in performance. I should have done it before and after for you just to give you an idea. I had no idea though that I wasn't going to be having to do more work than that, but I will do some fine tuning of the low and high mix ratios, making sure I've got that tweaked out as good as I can. But I think it's starting well now, and we'll see how it works next time up in the canopy. All right, friends, well, thanks for just coming along with me on that little tour there. Listen, for those of you who are interested in what's going on here at SM Heartland, we got another call from the landowners of the 13-acre home over there on our west boundary. And for those of you who don't know anything at all about what's going on, you can search back through the videos. I'll put a link or two right up here referring back to some of the discussions about what's going on with the property out here. But in a nutshell, we own 53 acres right here. We do not have running water, septic, or anything like that. We have electric only. Right on our west boundary is a 13-acre piece of land which has just come up for sale about a year and a half ago. The previous owner passed away, and the people who inherited the property live about 45, 50 miles north of us. And so it's been an ordeal trying to get this property to exchange hands. We have a purchase agreement. We've been waiting since November to purchase the place, and it looks like now it's only maybe within a week off. So we've heard that story before. You know, we're not angry with the homeowners or anything like that. You know, winter's approaching and we need to figure out what we're doing here. And the homeowners, I got to tell you, Ian and Laura, they offered to let us just go ahead and take over the house right now. They gave us keys. They said, go on over there, stay there. There's running water, take your showers, sleep there, eat there, do what you want to do. We trust you guys. And we're very grateful for that. But, you know, there's still a lot of furniture there, a lot of things that are just, we just couldn't easily do that. But I sure appreciate the heart behind that offer from Ian. Thank you, Ian, so much if you're watching this. So we'll wait until everything is proper and in order. But so that's where we're at with it right now. There is a small garage on that property, so I will have some place to do this kind of work during any kind of weather. Right now, I just wait for these beautiful days to come by and I can get out here and just engage myself. So what else is going on? Cousin Eddie has been back in the area, folks. Those of you who know Cousin Eddie, maybe some of you miss him. I sure do. I miss him a lot. He's back in the area. He's been touring. I mean, this guy, he's got an interesting background. I'll tell you all about it sometime. But he's been touring the world, folks, and he's back with us now in the area. I'll see if I can get him on camera for you sometime here in the near future. I'm also working on my daughter's wedding video. I ran into some copyright law issues because of music being used in that video or in that ceremony. And so I can't just put the videos up without getting dinged by YouTube for it. So, so bear with me. I will put together something that will represent that ceremony that she had on September 4th. So let's see, what else is going on? Susie is working on getting a job closer to home. We're hoping that she will, instead of having to drive 78 miles a day, she'll only have to drive about 30 miles a day. And the job she's taking is a job where she's worked before. The people know her and they trust her, so I think she has an easy inroad there. So and she's going to be doing the same thing she does now. She's a pharmacy technician. So that's a new thing that's happening. Let's see. I don't have a whole lot right in the forefront of my brain at the moment, but folks, I want to thank you all also for all of the feedback I got on my cousin Scott's tribute video. You guys are so kind. Thank you so much for your care and your concern for my family. It touched my heart that so many of you had wished the family well. And my Aunt Judy, if you're watching this video, I know you're probably not interested at all in the content of this today, but my Aunt Judy started subscribing to the video. That would be my cousin Scott's mother. And I miss that lady so much. It's been just as long since I've seen her. And she's doing well, folks. I think she's, I don't know, she's in her 80s somewhere, you know. She would have to be. And she looks terrific. But those of you who've been following the channel, give a shout out to my Aunt Judy, Judy Corbett, and I'm sure she would appreciate it. Folks, I love you all so much. You impress me and you encourage me with your acts of kindness. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel, promoting the theme of kindness. And it all started with my good friend Buck and Billy Ray. He turned my life around. When I say turned it around, he definitely modified the course. Let's put it that way, okay? It wasn't like I was a bad person going in the wrong direction. What I mean was, he pointed me in a direction that I was really interested in developing, and that was this whole thing of tree work. But not only that, with this underlying foundation of just being kind to folks. Just be kind, regardless of what's going on, all the crud and corruption going on in the world. Turn up the kindness, folks. Just turn it up. And it makes a big difference, folks. It really does. People respond to kind deeds. So thank you all for being a part of that and keeping that inspiration going. All right, folks, that's it. I'm rambling again. Love you all. Be kind, stay safe. I'll see you next time.